Hey everybody. So I just got done watching Nightcrawler and really enjoyed it. Looks like it's going to be nominated for some Golden Globes, maybe some Oscars. And really, the piece de resistance for the movie is Jake Gyllenhaal and his portrayal of the main character, who's also very villainous. So as I was watching it, I thought, you know, what are the best villains of all time in movies? So, to that end, here are, in my opinion, the top five villains in movies. But we're going to start with some honorable mentions.
Nice suit.
The first honorable mention is Hans Gruber, played by Alan Rickman in the movie Die Hard. It shows that I'm a product of the late 90s, early 2000s, and that I've seen Rickman do his things in a bunch of movies before I'd ever even heard of Die Hard. So when I first watched Die Hard, I naturally assumed there'd be something really big or new or original. And it's really just Rickman being Rickman. With a German accent, of course, which is amazing in and of itself. So while it wasn't as new or original for me as it was for the people of the 80s, it's still a noteworthy performance by one hell of an actor. And I've got to admit, I was very, very intimidated by him, but I always am from Alan Rickman. But that doesn't change the fact that Alan Rickman's a heck of an actor and Hans Gruber is a heck of a villain.
Get on the jet to Tokyo to ask the chairman. I'm telling you, you're just gonna have to kill me.
Okay. We do it the hard way.
Another honorable mention is The Terminator. Yes, I know Arnold has been a good guy more often than a villain in this franchise, but for me, his performance in the first Terminator deserves a mention. Or should I say, the lack of a performance. Arnold really just needed to let his gargantuan physique do the talking while he simply acted robotic. Doesn't sound like a great villain when you think about it that way, but if you watch the first Terminator and you don't feel a little scared when he's walking out of the flames, then you're a braver man than I.
I'll be back. I'll be back.
My next honorable mention is Nurse Ratched, from One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. This villain is what I would classify as that villain you just want to strangle. For you Harry Potter fans, think Dolores Umbridge, only without all the niceness. Yeah, that's what we're talking about here, people. Ratched is so set in her ways that she can't see any good that can happen outside of them. Top it all off with vindictive tendencies and a great performance, you've got a great villain. Now, I might cause a lot of chaos with this next pick. No pun intended. The Joker, from the Christopher Nolan movies or the Tim Burton movies, played respectively by Heath Ledger or Jack Nicholson. I know I'll probably get some flack for this, but remember, I'm talking all-time villains here, not comic books or recent movies. No, I'm talking all time. We don't know how long Heath Ledger's Joker is going to live on. It's safe to assume that it'll be remembered as one of, if not the best villainous performance in a Batman film, but I've got a feeling Jared Leto is going to bring something even more to the role. But regardless, the grittiness of Ledger and the insanity of Nicholson won't soon be forgotten, and that deserves an honorable mention.
Why so serious?
My next honorable mention is somebody you might not have heard, Reverend Powell from Night of the Hunter. I'm putting Powell on this list mainly due to the fact that his performance has been remembered for so long. Interestingly, I don't think this film did very well when it was originally released. And while it's dated horribly in my opinion, there's no denying that Reverend Powell is one of the slimiest scumbags ever to grace the silver screen. Another honorable mention is Gordon Gekko, played by Michael Douglas in the movie Wall Street. Try to tell me you aren't intimidated by this performance. Michael Douglas embodied Gekko and created a ruthless Wall Street exec that was smart, ruthless, cunning, and greedy. And as he taught us all,
greed is right. Greed works. Greed clarifies, cuts through, and captures the essence of the evolutionary spirit. Greed in all of its forms. Greed for life, for money, for love, knowledge, has marked the upward surge of mankind, and greed, you mark my words, will not only save Teldar Paper, but that other malfunctioning corporation called the USA.
With a performance like his, it was hard to not put him on this list. My last honorable mention is the Queen from Snow White. Yeah, I know, Scar, Ursula, and Jafar all get the attention, and they really all deserve a mention. But I'm going to mention a character that is often forgot about. The Queen is a driven, intelligent psychopath. I mean, killing a girl for being pretty? That's pretty messed up, lady. But good God, you don't want to be the one to tell her that. Because while her actions are insane, she's cool and calculating. She takes her title as Queen seriously, as well as her killing. But that's just the warm-up round. Let's get to what you came here for, which is the Cinema Shrink's top 5 villains of all time. Michael Myers from Halloween. Yes, I know many of the villains in the honorable mentions sections were in better movies, but try and remember, slasher films hadn't been established in Hollywood at the time of Halloween's release. I know it's hard to imagine, but just 3 years before Halloween, Jaws was being lauded as terrifying, and rightfully so. So imagine seeing this just 3 years later. Halloween gave us many horror tropes that are considered cornerstones of the horror genre today. And it gave us the most memorable villain as well. Michael doesn't talk, he's not clumsy or spiteful, he's pure evil.
I met this 6-year-old child with this blank, pale, emotionless face and the blackest eyes, the devil's eyes. I spent 8 years trying to reach him, and then another 7 trying to keep him locked up because I realized that what was living behind that boy's eyes was purely and simply evil.
Now, how can somebody with that description not be on this list? Hannibal Lecter, Silence of the Lambs. I don't think I need to say much about this one. Hopkins had, 20 minutes of screen time, maybe? And he won an Oscar for that, and it was well deserved. Imagine Michael Myers if he was captured and decided to start talking. The scary thing about Lecter isn't necessarily his stature or ability to kill, but his intelligence. The man knows people, how to use people, how to get what he wants. There's something truly terrifying about a man who can make you do things for him, without you even knowing it. Oh, and being a cannibal ups the fear factor just a tad. Amon Goethe, Schindler's List. This might be a personal choice, but Ralph Fiennes' performance as the concentration camp leader was very unsettling to me. This role is definitely more impactful when you understand that most of the actions he takes in the film are historically accurate. They actually happened. But Fiennes' talent allows you to see a man who doesn't feel he is doing anything wrong. He sees it more as a job. Come to work, clock in, slaughter some people, clock out, end of workday. Tell me that doesn't unsettle you. No doubt about it, Amon Goethe left an imprint on my psyche that I won't soon be forgetting. The Wicked Witch of the West, The Wizard of Oz. While this might seem like a childish pick, think back to when you first saw this film. I remember being in tears when I first saw The Wicked Witch. In fact, every time I watched this movie, that same night, I would have a nightmare about her. The performance has stood the test of time and will forever be looked to as one of the greatest villains in cinematic history. The laugh, the smoke, the broom, the green skin, it's all just so perfect. A part of me really wanted to put her at number 1, but even she couldn't best my top choice. Sorry, Wicked Witch.
I'll get you, my pretty, and your little dog, too.
Darth Vader, Star Wars. It's so unfortunate that some people might see the prequels before ever seeing the original trilogy, but there's no denying Vader is responsible for genocides. He views himself as a peacekeeper who must maintain order in the galaxy. He tortures his daughter, cuts off his own son's hand, destroys an entire planet. I mean, I don't see any other villains doing these kinds of things.
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
But above all is his presence. The voice. Oh my god, that voice. It's dark, it's foreboding, it's intimidating, just like he is. He's ruthless, cruel, highly intelligent, and a master with the Force as well as a lightsaber.
Don't be too proud of this technological terror you've constructed. The ability to destroy a planet is insignificant next to the power of the Force.
The circle is now complete. When I left you, I was but the learner. Now I am the master.
There's just no villain that will be able to top the impact Vader has had in his universe, and in the impact he's had on ours.
No, I am your father.
So that's my top 5 movie villains of all time. What did you think? Let me know. And do you disagree? Let me know. Give me your list. Whatever you think, just comment on the video. Thanks, and take care.
Mm-hmm.